My friend Greg Spencer, we've been friends. Gosh,
20
when did you come
20
to MC?
almost 25 years now.
You did. Greg knows a lot of things that I hope he never
Yeah, I
tells
won't share
anyone.
those. That's for another podcast.
And so, so part of what I'm hoping happens with these conversations, Greg, is that people learn a little bit more about pastors as people. A lot of people really don't have much relationship with pastors beyond those preaching moments in their churches. And I think they could and would love to see that happening more in people's lives. And I think hearing a little bit about some will help fuel that. So tell us who you are, where you're currently serving,
Okay.
anything about your family, kids,
Okay.
wife, that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, my name is Greg Spencer. I have the privilege of serving as pastor of First Baptist Church of Ellisville, Mississippi, in Jones County, Mississippi. We are in year 5. We previously served with the North American Mission Board in the city of Las Vegas, Nevada, church planting, and then before that in several other places across the state. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Kimberly. We've been married now 25 years. Have 3 children, and we're in a very different season of life right now for us. I have a daughter who's a junior. Hannah is at Mississippi College. I have a son who's a freshman in college at Southwest Community College, and then I have a son, Gabe, who is a senior at South Jones High School. And so we're moving into that, not empty nester, but pretty close. And
Yeah,
so
that sounds amazing.
It's amazing. It's not cheaper, but it's amazing. But there's a pinhole at the end of the tunnel.
There's nothing cheaper.
Might be the train. But yeah, we're in a different season of life, and things really are changing for us right now in our house because my youngest son, who is the last one home, works, has a steady job, most productive when it comes to that of my 3 children. And so it's just me and my wife at home a lot. So we're just now learning that dynamic a little bit, and cooking for 2 instead of cooking for 5 is much different. And we're loving it. I'm not gonna lie to you, we love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So with your house less full
Yes.
and more time with Kimberly, what are some of the things that you guys like to do, both you and Kimberly, or as a family? What does fun look like?
Okay. Well,
in Pastor Greg Spencer's life?
and
Do you have fun? Maybe that's where we should start.
I think it's fun. You guys may not think it's fun. I'm really boring. I think as a pastor, a lot of times you're around people so much that you work hard and you relation hard. You like to have that time where you rest hard too. And so I'm no different than anybody else in that regards. But for wife Kimberly and I, we have probably had more consistent date nights in the last 6 to 8 months than we have probably our whole time of marriage. Because first of all, you don't have to pay for 5. You get to pay for just
that's a big change.
Shoot. And like tomorrow night, we've got a date night tomorrow night. Part of that's because we're too cheap and we don't like to do trick-or-treating, so we're just going to leave the house and let the trick-or-treaters just go to the next house.
Will you leave a bowl out?
No.
You're that cheap?
Yeah, I may turn on the front. I won't even turn the front porch light on. You're
not going to post Luther's 95 Theses on your door and say Happy Reformation Day?
No, I'm not that either. I'm just bowing out of that, and we just are. But for us as kids, my kids now, it is such great joy to have them all back home under the roof. We eat very well at my house. My children are a product of me. My wife's real picky when she eats, but my children are not. So we go all out when they come back. That's just one of the things that brings us great joy, gathering around the table, but just what are we going to have next for food, much like everybody else. But it is fun. I think, again, being in that different season of life has made me appreciate it even more.
Yeah. So if you have a day off and you could do whatever you want on a day off, what's that look like?
Well, it's not to set an alarm clock. Unfortunately, as your body gets older, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Very true.
This morning, at 6:30, I'm up. I'm up before the alarm clock goes off. Saturday, I might can sleep to 7:30, which is, that's a great day.
I have no idea what that looks like.
It's a great day
I have
to
a full
sleep
house.
7:30. And, but just kind of, take my time, brew a pot of coffee, just dissolve into the Word for at least a little while, doing yard work, doing my honey-do list around there, and then taking a great nap in the afternoon, and then getting ready for everybody to come home in the afternoon. I'm off on Fridays. That's kind of my quiet time day around the house, but that's kind of
Awesome.
what I do. Yeah.
Would you be like a Star Wars family or a Harry Potter family or like a Dude Perfect family or?
We are probably more of the Harry Potter family. I know a couple of summers ago.
That doesn't mean he's into witchcraft.
No, at all. A couple of summers ago, before my daughter went off to college, we knew that those times were getting precious, so we bought the Blu-ray box set of Harry Potter and watched them. And we turned the lights out, and it's like movie theater sound and all that kind of stuff. And plus, I'm kind of an Anglophile. I love things all British. I'm a subscriber to BritBox.
Yeah.
If you guys know what BritBox is, I watch all those nerdy channels. Like the Smithsonian channel is probably my favorite channel. My kids call it the Nerd Channel, but I watch that a lot. But watch a lot of British documentaries. I'm watching one right now on highlighting the homes that belong to the National Trust in the UK. And so that's kind of where my heart, and my daughter is much like me in that regards too. My boys don't really care though.
So if people thought pastors were nerdy people, you're really fostering that here.
Yeah, we are. We're weird. I'm weird, but I'm really into sports too. So I mean, I guess I can cross those two worlds. My people in my church sometimes don't understand me because they're like, well, "Let's go fishing, preacher." I'm like, "No, that's stressful to me. Fishing is stressful to me."
You feel pressure to catch something?
No, I just don't know what I'm gonna do with it when I get it.
That's awesome.
I mean, and I grew up deer hunting. I'm not mad at them anymore. I do get a chance. My boys and I will go here because my father-in-law has a place. He allows us to go hunt, but I don't get up early in the morning. I'm the afternoon guy. I'm going to stand by 3:30. By 5 o'clock, I'm ready to come out if we hadn't seen anything. But I enjoy that with my boys. But they're getting big now where they can kind of go by themselves.
They go by themselves.
Yeah.
So in terms of your family, people see us teaching and preaching, and I think a lot of times assume what maybe our time as a family talking about the Lord would look like or be like. What does the spiritual life of your home look like? Like, how do you and your family talk about the Lord, or how do you all spend time together? How do you help your family grow spiritually?
Yeah, it's a challenge. People in our pews, I know they struggle with it. For us as a family, it is. And, we used to would call, "Hey, family meeting," and the kids were like, "Oh gosh, are we in trouble?" That would be what they would think about. But, we did move away from some of that. But I found out that our biggest time and our best times in talking about with the Lord are in the car.
Yeah.
Because in some ways you have a captive audience at that point. I mean, they could jump out the door, but I mean, I've encouraged them not to do that. But those are the times where, we're serious, but, around the table, you gotta take advantage of those times, be able to make that a place where it is okay to talk about that. It's common to talk about, or it's natural to talk about that. I think those are really big things for us. And I think as you weave those conversations and allow your children to be part of the ministry, you disciple them and allowing them to be a part of it. And I think you can kind of head off a lot of things that way.
Yeah.
We're not this, we drag the hymnal out, have pass a plate or anything like that.
Not that there's anything wrong with pulling a hymnal out and singing at home.
That's true.
Just in case.
Yeah, the offering plate may be a little bit much because kids don't.
I don't know, man. We deal in parent taxes at our house.
Do you really?
And we don't like take their money, but we do take their
candy.
Yeah. The dad tax is real.
Reese's, yeah.
But now that I have a kid with a job who every now and then has more money in her checking account than I do, I'm not far from a dad tax in that regard.
I'm with you.
That's a real thing. So in your relationship with your church members, are there things that they might be surprised to know because there's not really that part of you doesn't come up in preaching? Are there things about you other than liking to rest and enjoying time with family? Are there things people might be surprised to find, or that you just kind of wish more people knew about you that don't really, they're just not part of our preaching because it doesn't fit. It sounds more like, hey, you're talking about you rather than helping people know the word and grow in their walk with the Lord.
Yeah. I've pastored in quite a few contexts. And so as a pastor, you had to learn to know what your people like and be interested. So I'm very curious with my people. Like, what do you do? How do you do that? What's that look like? because I'm trying to learn from them. During COVID, for example, I got hooked on this show, again, a British show, BritBox, called This Farming Life. And so I've told many times that, Kimber, I'm just going to buy some land and we're going to start raising cows like that. I really have said that because I'm into it. But what I learned is as I'm watching that show, I don't smell anything. But in real life, you smell. So I've got a guy in my church who is somewhat of a cattle farmer now. And I'm just like constantly picking his brain because maybe one day I'll get that dream of having some cattle and raising cows. But today, that's not it. But yeah, just trying to.
I barely have time to cut my grass.
Well, that's what the cows are for, to cut your grass.
No, let's say.
But learning what other people do, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades. You got to be a little curious about everything.
Yeah. So you're curious.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily come out in preaching.
No, but
I can see that.
And you may not think that I'm curious either, too, because I was always, even in school, one of those people that I never said a whole lot. I'm just watching and listening. I'm really soaking it all in. And I was never that guy that went after class and brown nosed to the teacher, anything like that, ask them a million questions and just kind of listening. And I do that with a lot of people. I listen to see what they're doing. And then, the more I get to know them, obviously, when I can feel like I can somewhat carry a conversation with them, I'll really dive into it.
All right. So I'm going to piggyback to one of my next questions. With your curiosity, what do you like? That means you care. You kind of want to know what's going on in people even. So how would you describe, or what do you hope your relationship with church members is like?
Yeah.
Like as a pastor, there's so much more than here's what the word says.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you like your relationship, or how are you working in your relationship? Like a hopeful picture of relationship with church members.
I think sometimes somewhere down the road, pastors got this, this wrath, that rip, or whatever you want to call it, that they're not human. And that's kind of why you're doing this, because in the wall, we don't get past all this. But I've had my church people even tell me, thank you for being as transparent as you are. I'm very transparent.
Even when you're teaching.
Yes, I'm very transparent, particularly like on a Wednesday night, like tonight, it very, very much, maybe sometimes too transparent, but just being real. And that's, I think, been refreshing to a lot of people, but it's also been able to bridge some things with people that when they know that their pastor is a human being that's real, that struggles with some of the same things they deal with. To me, you gravitate towards each other. And
so do you want to be friends with people in your congregation?
Oh, of course. I do. And now, we're not going to be buddy with everybody, not because you don't like it. There's just only so much time to go around. But we have dear friends in our church, people that we go on vacations with and spend time with and go out to eat dinner with and do things together with, having children the same age and some of the same activities. That's always helpful too. But again, we're in a new season of life where our kids and their activities are not going to be a central focus anymore. So we're going to have to adapt, find other things to do. And, but thankfully there's a lot of us in that regard. And so we all are like still stuck with each other, which is fun.
I think I have found that people know that our church that we're pastoring, it's also our church. Like it's the only church we're a part of. Like this is, I don't have another option for closed Christian community. So as a pastor, what are ways that, not just specific to being a pastor, but because you're a pastor, I think it helps for people to hear, as your church has a relationship toward you, what are ways that you have found your church has encouraged you? Or if someone was watching this and thinking, man, I want to be an encouragement to my pastor, what are some ways that people can encourage you or in general pastors?
Well, the context of where I'm pastoring now, one of the things I really have felt like since we got there, and this is nothing that I've not shared with my people, is really concentrating on this dynamic of family. And what I mean by family, not my immediate nuclear biological family, but church, seeing church as a family. Because when your church doesn't see themselves as a family, then then you tend to have these splinter groups that kind of go off and do their own things. And I'm grateful that I'm now serving in a church that has adopted that, had not only just bought into it, but now living that, and doing things together outside of the church building. Going places together and experiencing life together, and that is so sweet to see as a pastor. And I'm just grateful that some of them, they've invited me in to do that, and my family, and that's really, really a special thing. And I don't say that to brag, but I just know that I'm blessed in that way.
That's awesome. I wish more people could see us as a part of their church family and not the person who's outside the church family lobbing the gospel in. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of church situations, a lot of pastors communicate in their relationships with their churches that the church is becoming this very close-knit, unified group of people. Mm-hmm. And they kind of often feel like they're watching that happen and not always a part of that, because people just kind of struggle to let pastors in. Mm-hmm. And it's sweet that you're in a place where they're doing that.
Yeah, and I'm always convicted and just humbled. Humble's not the right word in that. And just when I'll have somebody come to me and go, "Hey, I know you're really busy, but I just want to add," and I'm like, "No, I'm not that busy." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we are busy.
Yeah, we are busy, but
a lot of people are busy.
A lot of people are busy,
regardless of their job.
And my busy is best when I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want people to communicate. Now, obviously, you have to have some boundaries and things with that with your family, especially with the invention of a cell phone and text messaging. I mean, it's just you have to guard yourself for that. So
you do. So, but that's good. I mean, I think it would help a lot of people to know it's okay to invite the pastor and his family into what you're doing with your friends, and we don't need to be important because we're there. Yeah. We don't have to be like the guest of honor.
Right. I don't have to pray at your house for the dinner. It's your house, you pray.
I mean, I'm okay if they ask me to pray, but
I enjoy seeing dads.
Oh yeah,
pray over their families, man. And I just grab my family even tighter when I hit one of my wife. She knows she's fixing to get a bear hug.
That's awesome. So, is there anything that you feel like is misunderstood about the role of pastor?
We are not hired hitmen.
What do you mean by hired hitmen?
I can speak for myself. I do not know everything. I don't have a solution for everything. And when you look at your pastor as being the one that has to have the answer for everything, and that expectation upon a pastor, that is exhausting for a pastor to be there. And that's why, it's important to have people to lead and to lead well and to take ownership in ministry, because your pastor can't do everything. I mean, he just can't. And people ask me all the time, what's the greatest joy you have in ministry? And they're like, I bet it's when the room is full, you got high attendance. I'm like, no, that's not it at all. It's when I see my people taking ownership in ministry and leading ministry. Yeah. That's one of the greatest joys that I have as a pastor. And man, it'll bring me to tears. I just sit back in awe because, as our friend just shared with us, knowing that if we are leading by the Spirit, then if we're not there, that ministry is going to keep going. And I think that's a great, great word for us. And if it's depending on our skills and our ability to make it happen, and when we're gone, it dies, it's somewhat of an indictment to us, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember who said it. I need to look it up because I use this quote often. I always forget it, but I want to say it was an English or Irish or Scottish missionary that told everyone that he was influencing to go preach the gospel, die, and be forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that it's okay if people forget us, but we do want the work of the Lord to continue.
For sure.
Yeah, I find people are often surprised that it's not that I don't enjoy preaching to a large number of people. I mean, that can be really fun, but it is, I love the fact I'm with you. It's more rewarding to see people growing in their faith, and living it out, and you know, because it's not about people hearing us.
Yeah, and then multiplying themselves as well. That's discipleship.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I hope this helps people. I absolutely love our friendship.
Yeah.
And thankful for
we don't get to see each other as much.
really long relationship at this point, and thankful for what you do and for being real. All the guys that I've asked to do this so far are people who are very transparent with their congregations and feel a part of their congregations, and I appreciate that about you, brother.
Thank you.
Awesome.